Mic check 1 2. It's the Y2K collector. And 2023 wasn't just about buying and collecting Nintendo Switch games. No, 2023 was filled with a bunch of PS4 bangers that I definitely wanted to share with you. So I'm going to go over my top 25 PlayStation 4 pickups for 2023. And I'm also going to go over one additional really rare title that may have slipped by, but you may still be able to pick up. So I'm not going to do a ton of jabbering or blabbering. I'm going to try to do these in rapid fire succession so that this video isn't super long. And we're not going to waste any more time. Let's dive right in. So the first game on the list is going to be They Always Run, which is a pretty cool hack and slash style game where you play as a 3-armed assassin. The artwork on this is really, really cool. It almost has this comic book style artwork to it. And the gameplay is pretty phenomenal. One of the best 2D action platformers that I think that came out on the PlayStation 4 this year. It's also available on the Switch, but I'm glad that I was able to pick up a copy on the PS4. Second up is going to be Double Dragon Gaiden, another game that came out on the on the Nintendo Switch rather, but the PlayStation definitely did get its own release. This is an amazing beat 'em up, just a good throwback to good old fashioned beat 'em up games. Beautiful 2D artwork on this one. And this is one that I was glad that I was able to add to the collection. Again, this was on sale. You could have picked this up for around 15 bucks. Not sure if it's still going for that, but you can definitely check online. The next amazing pickup in 2023 was Ghost of Tsushima. I have not beat this game yet. I'm still playing through it. But one of the most beautiful games on the PlayStation 4. If I was going to have to play an open world samurai ninja game, you better believe it's going to be this one, because it doesn't get more beautiful than Ghost of Tsushima. And the story is pretty cool too. The voice acting is great. It's just a very well done game. So that was another really cool pickup this year. Next up is going to be Berserk and the Band of the Hawk. This is another installment in the Berserk series. I have Berserk on the Dreamcast. So to see this come out here on the PlayStation 4 is pretty cool. This is a major hack and slash style game. Pretty cool characters, pretty cool story. You know, I'm all about the hack and slash action. 3D open world on that one. So this is a really cool find. I found this a ton at GameStop. I'm pretty sure you can still find this game at GameStops everywhere, or at a GameStop near you. Next pickup that I got, this one was more recent, but a really clean copy of Transformers Rise of the Dark Spark. Another 3D open world style game here. It's an action game. And definitely just, this is based off of the movie. So definitely good voice acting here. Activision put this one together. I was stoked to actually add this one. It's got a lot of bad ratings, but I'm interested to dive into this one and see how bad it is. I feel like I played something like this on the 360 before, but we'll see what that one has to offer. Here's a really cool one that I picked up this year, Blade Assault. So this is a pretty cool 2D action platformer here with some hack and slash components to it. I really like it. Pixel work or the pixel art is really cool on this one. If you haven't heard of it yet, a Blade Assault, check it out. It is available on the Switch, I believe. If you're into that 2D hacking and slashing. Okay, so this one is more of like a 3D puzzle action kind of arena style fighting game where you set up traps to kill your enemies. Deception 4, The Nightmare Princess. Found this one at GameStop as well. This one you don't see every day at GameStop on the PS4. But was glad to add this one just because it seems like it's getting more and more rare. So I think this one will be one to look for on the PS4 in the future. Another great 3D beat 'em up. I actually just bought basically like the fitness version of this game on the Switch. There's like Fist of the Northstar Fit. It's like a boxing game that's themed in the Fist of the Northstar universe. But this is a really cool beat 'em up here by Sega. Started playing this one and got to the point where he's trying to get access into like this indoor city or whatever the case may be. But Fist of the Northstar Lost Paradise is a pretty cool 3D beat 'em up. I like it. I think you'll get some enjoyment out of it. It's not completely open world, I would say. It's like 3D, but it does follow like somewhat of a linear path. I think this one's pretty cool. Check it out. Fist of the Northstar, Lost Paradise. I think you'll like that one. Not super common. This was during, I think GameStop's 50% off on select games. So I picked up Darius EX Plus, another Chronicle, on the PlayStation 4. This is a pretty cool shoot 'em up. It was going for 40, but then they cut it in half and it was going for 20. So I decided to add it to my PS4 collection. I'm always into the shoot 'em ups. I've probably got, 10 different versions of Darius. I know I have Darius Burst on the PSP, not the PSP, on the PS Vita. But this was a cool one to add, especially when they cut the price in half. And speaking of shoot 'em ups, we got another really cool shoot 'em up right here, Crisis Wing. If you haven't heard about this one here, this is definitely a cool shoot 'em up to look out for. Kind of like a throwback feeling style shoot 'em up, and it really just plays on that whole 90s feel. I like this one. This one gives me Truxton vibes. So if you're into like top-down shoot 'em ups, I would definitely check this one out. Crisis Wing was a cool one that I added. Mega Man 11. Now this is a common one. This is one you will see every day in almost every store. Mega Man 11 is a pretty cool game. Glad that I was able to get it on the PS4 and add it there. Graphics and gameplay are great. Not really much that needs to be said about Mega Man. It's Mega Man, action platformer, a classic. I would definitely check it out. This was one that I got online because it was, again, I think this was going for like $14.99 or $13.99. The Ninja Saviors, Return of the Warriors. I was actually tempted to get this on the Super Nintendo, but just went ahead and got it on the PlayStation 4 because of how cheap it was. This is a really cool remake of a 90s beat 'em up on the Super Nintendo. So if you haven't heard of Ninja Saviors, definitely check it out. This is basically like a remake or port of that game. And then we've got another action platformer here. This is Cuphead. This one was highly talked about for a while. This one does include some pretty cool, delicious last course included. So perhaps some DLC. I haven't had a chance to open this one yet. But definitely love the artwork on this. That whole vintage art style. Really like it. And this was one that I went ahead and added to the collection this year. Elden Ring. A Souls-like open world hack and slash game. Really excited to dive into this one. This too I picked up when it was half off. GameStop was selling this game for 50% off for a while. So this was one that I definitely grabbed. I've heard a lot of good things about this. I really got to sink my teeth into games like this, kind of like Ghost of Tsushima. You kind of have to immerse yourself in it. I usually don't have a lot of time to spend on games. That's why I'm always buying 2D games, because you can kind of beat them in a few hours. But this is one that I will dive into. Elden Ring, definitely a great pickup for 2023. A recent pickup here, Naruto Boundless Trails. I picked this up because it reminded me a lot of Ys Origins, which I wound up playing a lot. That was one of the first games I got on the Switch, actually. So Naruto Boundless Trails, adding that to the PS4 collection was pretty cool. This is one I do plan on diving into. This was like a very, very recent pickup. Just picked this up the other day. And then picked this one up a few weeks ago. Gal Guardian's Demon Purge, if you're into that 2D Castlevania style game. So this is a Metroidvania where you could play as one of two characters, one having hack and slash melee attacks, the other one having a Uzi and projectile attacks. But this is a cool one, Gal Guardian's Demon Purge. It's becoming more and more rare on the Switch, but it is easy to find on the PS4. So if you haven't gotten a copy yet, definitely check it out there. This was a great one. So Lovers in a Dangerous Space-Time. For a while, I thought that this was a game that would only be good on the Switch until I realized how many controllers you can connect to the PS4. Because this is one of those games that you really got to play with friends. This is a great couch co-op game because all the players have to work together in tandem to ward off the enemies. Someone has to control the ship. Someone has to fire the weapons. Someone has to man the defenses. There's different components that you got to do. So the better you work together as a team, the more success you'll have in the game. And I just thought the way they put this together was really, really cool because it forces you to work with the people that you're playing with. So this is a great game to get. I was glad that I added it to the collection. Lovers in a Dangerous Space-Time. That's a sick one. Here's one a lot of us are familiar with, River City Girls. So I do have this on the Switch, and I am currently playing it on the Switch. I didn't have a PS4 copy, so I just wanted to add it because I was able to find this, I think, on Mercari for like 24 bucks. So, and this isn't really expensive. It's like a $40 game. But I'm pretty sure once, like, you know, the PS4 is fully phased out completely, games like this are going to be harder and harder to find. So I added River City Girls before it just got super crazy, and because I am a huge fan of this game. Another game that I'm a huge fan of, whoa, that the tower PS4 games are about to fall. Whoa, I'm sorry about that. So another game that I'm a huge fan of is Val Ferris. Now this is actually one of the first games I beat on the Switch. I really like this game a lot. I like the gameplay and the different weapons you could choose from and the leveling up process. That, like, once I started, I just didn't want to stop, and I played this game until I completely beat it. Really good game. This is like a rock and roll style side-scrolling run and gun shooter. So this is one that I would definitely check out. Val Ferris. If you like games like Hunt Down or Contra, you'll like Val Ferris a lot. This is a good one. The Mighty Goose. This is another really great pickup in 2023. So I actually picked this up on the Switch twice. I had the alternate cover on the Switch and then the general release, because they did have a general release on this game. But this is like a quirky spin on Metal Slug. Just look at it that way. You play, it's like Metal Slug, but you're playing as a goose. Not as much variation with the weapons and stuff like that, but I think the sprite work is really good and the colors look great in this game. The music is great too. Mighty Goose is just a great take on an old school theme, and I think you'll enjoy this one on the PS4 as well. Another shoot 'em up, of course. If you're familiar with the Cotton series, then you'll know that they've been re-releasing a ton of games, and this is one of the re-releases. Superlative Night Dreams Cotton Fantasy. So this is a side-scrolling shoot 'em up, which is really cool. And the Cotton series is more like a cute 'em up than a shoot 'em up. So if you're into shoot 'em ups or cute 'em ups, this is one that you'll want to grab on the PS4. I think they were having a sale on this one too, so you were able to pick this one up for either 15 or 20 bucks, brand new, sealed at GameStop. So definitely look out for that. Bolo on Cotton Fantasy. Another shooter. You know I love my shoot 'em ups. So Raystorm Ray Crisis, a great collection of space shooters that were originally released on the PlayStation 1 via Working Designs. I really love the music on Raystorm. The music on the second level, oh man, I'm about to figure out how I can download that music and make it my theme music. The music on the second level of Raystorm is really good. So if you're into like jazzy kind of, you know, ethereal beats, you'll kind of like that. I think this music is very melodic, and that's one of the things I love the most about the Raystorm Ray Crisis series. This is a great collection of shoot 'em ups. If you're into shoot 'em ups, I recommend adding it to your PS4 collection. All right, we're getting down to the wire here, and we're running into some really good ones. So here we have Castlevania Requiem. So I'm a huge fan of Castlevania, and they've been re-releasing a ton of their games. But Requiem is a little bit different because it comes with Symphony of the Night and Rondo of Blood. And I think this is the only re-release that has these two games on it. So this is another great way to experience these two games if you don't feel like shelling out the big bucks to pick up these games on the original consoles. I'm not sure how much Rondo of Blood goes for, but I know Symphony of the Night on the PlayStation 1 goes for a pretty penny. And I think there's a version of Symphony of the Night that came out on the Sega Saturn. I think that's an import version. That one is also very expensive. So a really inexpensive way of experiencing these two games is on the PS4. These are really cool games that you could probably beat in one setting if you just kind of focus. So I like these games. I definitely recommend checking it out. You probably can't beat Symphony of the Night in one setting. That one's a little longer. All right, another PS4 pickup here. So this one wasn't as common as some of the others. This is kind of like think of The Messenger, Ninja Gaiden, Shinobi. This game is called Within the Blade, right? And you play as like this ninja. And I think the gameplay is really what kind of locked me in. The fact that you can learn new moves, you can kind of create your own recipes, and just the platforming and the action in this game is really, really cool. So added Within the Blade. I looked at the footage and that's what drew me into this one. This is one that I'm definitely looking forward to diving into. Within the Blade was one I picked up in 2023. If you're into that whole Ninja Gaiden Shinobi style, definitely check this one out. Here's a recent pickup. This is one that I've recently talked about, and that's the Contra Collection. We all know about Contra, right? Alien Wars is probably the most popular one and the one that's still relevant today. If you're from the old school, you remember the first Contra games, right? Contra Arcade, Super Contra. I had Contra on the Game Boy back in the day. All of those Contra games are on this disc, a really neat collection of Contra games for the PS4. I don't see this as much in like Best Buys or GameStops and stuff. So if you do see one, I definitely recommend picking up a copy. If you are a fan of those run and gun shooters, I think this is one that you will have a lot of fun with. All right. And then the last pickup of all is probably the rarest of them all, is this really cool copy of Flynn, Son of Crimson by Super Rare Games. And if I'm not mistaken, I don't know how many copies of this were put out. I think maybe 3,500 or 4,000 copies of this were made. I know there's a limited amount of them on the Switch. But Flynn is a very good looking, very beautiful action platformer. And if you're into 2D action platformers, Flynn is one that I would definitely recommend. I know it shot up. The price for this game shot up a ton on the Switch, but I don't think it'll shoot up on the PS4. Just for whatever reason, the PS4 isn't as expensive as the Switch. But as you can see, there's a ton of games that you could get on the system itself. And a lot of these games you can get at discounted prices. Some of them are no longer available. A lot of them still are. And I definitely recommend checking out your local GameStop or hitting up one of your local game stores to see if you can snag any of these that look interesting to you. But that does it for me. I'm the Y2K Collector. Take it easy.